Hello, it's good to have you back for another video on our YouTube channel, Verses I Love. And today's verse is found in Lamentations chapter 3 verse 21. One of the most fascinating and very puzzling verses that I've ever read in the Bible. Very simple verse. It says, "This I recall to my mind, therefore have I hope." And I remember pretty vividly the first time I encountered this verse. And the first time I encountered this verse, I was reading, studying for something else, for a lesson or whatever, and I was looking for a verse about God's mercies, and actually the 22nd verse, which we're going to hit on some other time, talks about the Lord's mercies. But the verse before that, it was this verse, and I thought, boy, that's interesting. I wondered what he had hope for. And as I began to read the chapter, it began to get more and more puzzling, surprising, because he starts out talking about being afflicted, and he talks about being in darkness, and he talks about how that he had travail and troubles, and he was in such distress he couldn't get out. He cried, he shouted, his prayers couldn't get out, even to the point that he even said that God had seemed to have forgotten him and had travailed him with and humbled him and so forth and so on. And then at the end of all this, and I would just encourage you to read the first 19 verses of this chapter, first 20 verses of this chapter, and he just seemed to be incredibly troubled and tore up and hurt, and then goes on to say, "This I recalled my mind, therefore have I hope." And I began to think, what in the world is he trying to say? And I think that, to me, that Jeremiah was trying to say, in the midst of all that, in the days that we live in the times that we deal with, the troubles we have, we still have God. No matter what, the bad days, the hard days, the trouble, the travail, prayers not seem to get past the ceiling, all these things still fall back on the fact that the rock, Jesus Christ, is there. No matter what we deal with, no matter how hard things get, no matter how bleak and hopeless it seems to be, he's still there. He's still there. Even when we can say, "God, where are you?" it's still God. It's still calling out to God. God's still there. We don't always understand why God does what he does. We don't understand why God allows things to happen the way they happen. We don't understand why God would afflict us and allow things to come into our lives. But the fact is, he's still God. He's still God. He's still there. And so I'm gonna think about all these things. I'm gonna ponder on all these things. I'm gonna even stress over all these things. Yet he's still there. He's there when we don't feel him. He's there when we don't think he hears us. He's there when we can't feel him. He's there. "This I recall to my mind, therefore have I hope." Lamentations chapter 3 verse 21. God bless you.